Hello everybody, hope you're doing well. Here's a quick little preview of what you're about to see. This is Smiley Swag Killer. It is a surgical ice golem attack strategy based off an AQ charge with warden support, and then a parallel RC spirit walk with the BK in front of the AQ and the warden to help tank and open walls. So you can see the purpose of this strategy being called Smiley Swag Killer is to swag as many spells as possible, and with all the spells that we have left over to swag in Smiley Swag Killer, we can actually invest those spells in the beginning of the attack. So notice this attack, I was going to Giant Arrow FB the Town Hall, and then zap Giant Arrow the Fire Spitter compartments. But I went to make a change, I altered one invisibility spell to a freeze, went hit attack, foolishly, did not go into war, I went into Legend League. So here I'm wondering, because this is a lot of times a much more base specific strat than what you're about to see, which is Smiley Swag Killer. This is Hero Swag City, and the purpose of this attack is to do all the swagging in the beginning. We're going to put 3 EQs over the Town Hall so we can Giant Arrow Fireball the Town Hall. We're going to put 2 EQs over the Multi-Inferno Tower next to the Minion Prince, along with some lightning to eliminate that. So this is one of the craziest attack strategies that you can do in the game, one of the most fun, one of the most, I would say, plan intensive. So I only have 3 invisibility spells, so I need to get as many defenses between the Town Hall and the top left where the Warden's going to go eliminated as possible, so I can invest as few invisibility spells as possible. So using the Flame Flinger over here at the top right, I want to get at least one of these sides down. Specifically, I want to get this top right Fire Spitter down as fast as possible because I will not have any safety for my Warden or AQ. And by safety, I mean I will not have the Eternal Tome on the Warden, and I will not have an AQ ability if I run into too many defenses later on into the raid, because I'm going to be popping their abilities immediately. I'm going to be using the Giant Arrow on AQ, going to be using the Fireball on the Warden, nothing left to keep them protected. I've got the BK coming in from 12. BK needs to remove these 2 builder huts that are next to the Town Hall because they can reach the Town Hall, and I do not want them repairing the Town Hall before the Giant Arrow and the Fireball can eliminate the Town Hall. So the Spiky Ball goes off, eliminates some defenses between the top left and where the Town Hall is. AQ comes in, launches the Giant Arrow straight through the Town Hall. Perfect shot, very difficult shot to do on square bases. So now I'm just waiting for the AQ to eliminate some more defenses. Enough defenses are gone. I only need 2 invisibility spells now. 2 invisibility spells down. Warden Fireball. Entire core section is destroyed. So I got lucky because this was a random Legend League base, and this base actually turned out pretty nice to work out for this attack strategy. So now we're coming in with the Ice Golems, and this will be consistent in every single version of the strat. It is an AQ charge powered by the Warden Rage Gem, and then we are supporting the AQ and the Warden with a parallel Spirit Walk from the RC. So notice, these defenses are distracted on the AQ, and the AQ's health is decently strong because she's getting powered by the healers that are underneath the Warden Rage Gem. So we're sending in Ice Golems from the outside edge to distract for the RC. And then the RC, the AQ, the Warden, they all work together. They're all using the best hero equipment synergy possible to be able to stall up and tank and eliminate these defenses together as a team. So RC goes to ability. We have some Ice Golems, use some wall breakers to give them access later in the raid. And notice those 2 wizards came down to eliminate that wizard tower that the Ice Golem gets stuck on, because Ice Golems do no damage. They do no damage, they just sit there, so you need to bring either a wizard or a rocket loon, something to help push the Ice Golems closer into the base. So this was the base that I was initially planning to do this attack on. This is the base that I expected that army comp was going to get used for. And you can see Town Hall next to the clan castle, and this is a perfect diamond base. So this is an easy Giant Arrow. So I want the Giant Arrow to go through both of those Fire Spitters and the Hook Tower, so I can drop 2 lightning spells and 2 EQs and remove those Fire Spitters and the Hook Tower. I have 3 lightning spells here. I do not need the 3rd lightning spell. So perfect Flame Flinger value up here at 12. And I'm just showing you this attack because I want you to see what's possible with our unused spells that you're going to see in the Legend League version of this attack, which is the Fireball version. It's the easiest because it is the least base specific. So now it's time for the heavy lifting, which is dropping the EQs, dropping the lightnings, and getting the giant arrow off and getting the fireball off. And I messed this up really bad, and I want to show you why. I've done this attack pretty much all of Town Hall 16, so I should have known better. You should always drop a barb to test for skeleton traps. So that was my big mistake there. AQ, even though the skeleton traps were behind the elixir collector, or the elixir storage, the AQ giant arrow still targeted the skeleton traps. Giant arrow went to the side. So now I have pretty much no spells left. I only got 5 spells left. And that's what makes this attack strategy so exciting, because its success rests on flawless execution of a very risky attack strategy. So Warden, gonna keep him alive. AQ dead already, because the Town Hall that was supposed to be gone, its Infernal Artillery was able to kill the AQ. So now I'm sending BK in so he can benefit from the Warden Rage Gem, using some Ice Golems to stall up that single target Inferno, sending in the RC behind the BK because we might as well synergize the heroes because the BK will tank for the RC. RC goes to ability, and this was actually going to work. This was actually still going to triple. However, we're going to time fail. Had the giant arrow been on target, this base would have been absolutely wrecked. And I have tons and tons of replays of this attack strategy, tripling, where after the initial spell investment, you don't have to use a single spell afterwards. So I just wanted to show you the possibilities that come from learning this attack. And the attack I'm showing you, the attack that I do in Legend League, is a variation of the 2 attacks you just saw, which I call Hero Swag City, because you essentially build a city of swag initially at the start of the raid, and then you just drive on the freeways with your AQ and your Warden Rage Gem in behind. And I think it's the coolest attack strategy in the game. And I invented this attack strategy at Tunnel 16 once I got my Giant Arrow and Fireball unlocked, because I wanted to combine the 2 most fun equipments in the game into one attack strategy, and then add in the Zaps because I was big into the Stars Zap Lalo at that time. It's essentially a culmination of some of the most fun tricks in the game to achieve the most fun and the most adrenaline possible in the game. It's an endgame strategy because once you start doing the strategy, you're not going to want to do anything else. What you'll be seeing in the rest of the replays is the least base-specific version for Town Hall 17s, which is the Warden Fireball version. Warden Fireball, initially to create padding for an AQ charge, because there are so many multi-targeting defenses at Town Hall 17. We got the addition of 2 Fire Spitters, an extra multi-archer tower, and the Town Hall Inferno Artillery. The Town Hall Inferno Artillery was a very bad idea, and a lot of these spam defenses that they brought in to apparently stop spam, stop the Root Riders and the Dragon attacks, they actually just encourage spam because you need a bunch of spam to distract all the multi-targeting defenses. So you need to use the Warden to create padding, to protect the healers, and create a nice little channel for your AQ to do her walk with. So now Warden did his job, AQ comes in to steal the Warden. Warden comes in behind the AQ, supports her with his Rage Gem, lets her do extra damage, lets the healers do extra healing. So now we meet up, and this is always the case with this attack strategy. You always want to meet up your BK to get out in front of your AQ, to help tank for your AQ, and very importantly, you want to use his EQ boots to give your AQ access further into the base, because the AQ, unlike the Warden, she cannot jump over walls, so you have to rely on initially well-placed wall breakers, and then further into the base, a well-timed BK ability with the EQ boots to give the AQ access further into the base. So we have some Ice Golems coming in, and the Ice Golems, they just stall up these multi-targeting defenses, because when an Ice Golem pops, it stops all the spam multi-targeting defenses. When they're frozen, all 5 beams from the multi-target Inferno don't shoot, the 2 shots from the Ricochet Cannon don't shoot, the 3 shots from the Merge Archer Tower does not shoot, and the Town Hall, anything within range, will be frozen in time. And specifically, what this is great for also is an enemy minion prince, because a lot of times you put the minion prints for defense right next to a bunch of multi-targeting defenses, so you cannot sneak headhunters in to kill him. However, if you have a well-placed ice golem, you can freeze up all those defenses and allow the headhunter to come in and kill the enemy minion prints. So this strategy is all about planning, it's about precision, but once you get it down, you will be absolutely insane at the game. I call this the endgame strategy because it does not get more fun than this. I've tried a lot of different attack strategies, but this strategy, by learning this and mastering this Warden Fireball version, you will be able to unlock so many different variations of this attack. I'll be making a video about that soon. The variations include Giant Arrow, where you're using the Giant Arrow to create initial pathing for the AQ, the Fireball version, which we're seeing here, which is the least base specific, the best for Legend League. Then you have the Giant Arrow in combination with the Fireball to eliminate the Town Hall. Then you have the Giant Arrow with the Fireball, with another Lightning Zap for where the Giant Arrow goes through, which you saw at the beginning. Then you also have Skelly Donut, you have Super Goblins, you have Blizzard. This attack is just absolutely insane. It'll open up so many of the old awesome tricks that the game once had to offer before everything turned to Root Riders and Drags and Spirit Walks, which Spirit Walks are the easiest version that you can do in the game. AQ is the most difficult. Then you got Warden Walk, which is behind the AQ by a reasonable amount. And then you have the Spirit Walk RC. So, we're just trying to eliminate as many defenses between the Warden and where this invisibility spell tower compartment is next to the enemy clan castle. So being patient with the Warden, and notice I did not put any archers or wizards behind the Warden because I wanted those trash buildings to remain so that the Warden would be stalled up on those trash buildings. He would not push into the core of the base. This way I can do a nice long out of harm's way Warden Fireball. So now the Warden is coming up towards the top, dropping in the BK and the AQ, hoping the Warden will get close enough to the BK and AQ, come in behind them, and support them with his Rage Gem. Normally, I would send the RC in from 12 to help, or from the top left. I'd probably wait for the Town Hall to go down, and then send the RC in at about 9 o'clock, so the RC can work in tandem with the AQ and the BK. However, a lot of times with this attack strategy, especially if you're trying to set up to swag a lot of spells, which a lot of these attacks you're going to see are designed to swag a lot of spells, you sometimes might have to send your RC in opposite of your AQ. So this will not be ideal synergy, but it will prevent some time fails, and time fails can happen in this attack strategy, especially if you're trying to swag spells. And if you want to just worry about 3-starring, go ahead and invest your rages, go ahead and invest your spells early. And that's also what makes this, in my opinion, the most fun attack strategy in the game, is because you almost have a little mini game going on simultaneously, which is how many spells can I swag. And once you get good at this, you will start to not feel anything when you swag about 5 spells, when you swag about 7 spell space. It'll only be at about 8 and above spell space that you'll be like, wow, I had a really good swag. So definitely a very fun attack strategy to learn. And I've got about 20 of these videos that I will be uploading soon to give you guys the best possible heads up on how to do this attack strategy. And I'm going to be doing bursts of 5. That way it's short and sweet. You don't have to worry about all 8. And I'm just going to pick my 5 favorite attacks from 2 accounts so I can pretty much break bases for you guys so you guys can recognize them and do them in war. And I'm just going to give you some of the best tips and tricks from the bases I encounter in Legend League so you guys can learn as fast as possible. So on this base, common base, I'm sending the Warden in at 3 to stay clear from the enemy hook tower and to fireball this invisibility spell tower right above the enemy clan castle. So I'm using some rocket loons, as you can often do. That's what the rocket loons are there for, to trim up some of these defenses so you can invest fewer invisibility spells. So invisibility spells come down, fireball goes off, hits the section, EQs, that section is done. Able to pull the enemy clan castle, and there's no furnaces or fire mites coming out of the clan castle. That is very important. So I can drop the AQ in directly behind the Warden. However, if there was a furnace that came out and fire mites, I would have to let the warden deal with them by himself, because if I put the AQ in behind him, the warden would come back to the AQ, and then the healers would be between the clan castle, the fire mites, and where the warden and the AQ were, and the healers would get roasted. Another great thing Supercell added to really hamper tactical strategies while not doing too much to Root Rider or Dragon attack strategies. So now we're coming in with this BK, and we want the BK to be out in front of the AQ. It would have been nice for the BK to get hooked by this hook tower. However, he's not going to be, so we're just going to use his EQ boots, open up access to this Town Hall, sending in Ice Golems over here at the top left for the RC to come in and remove some of these defenses. We got 2 Ice Golems left. We have AQ ability, we have RC ability, and we have a Rage Tower compartment at the bottom. So we're going to go ahead, pop the Rocket Spear, and that's what's really nice about the Rocket Spear on the RC. However, notice the Spirit Fox. When the RC is targeting something and you think that the RC is going to be okay, because she will be, her Spirit Fox will actually run up, because the Spirit Fox does not have the same range as a Rocket Spear, so you can lose your Fox very early. So a lot of times before your Fox has a chance to get there, it's nice to drop in an Ice Golem. So base is absolutely wrecked. But yeah, this attack strategy is a lot of fun, and have fun learning and doing whatever kind of swag you want as long as it's appropriate. I like to do the smiley face because I hope that players will see the smiley face and decide to check out the channel and learn this fun attack strategy themselves and just keep spreading the word. So we have a diamond style base. Once again, as in all these attacks, we need to get the base ready for an AQ charge, and we do that by doing a warden charge at the beginning with the fireball to eliminate these problematic defenses so that we can have a nice leisurely AQ charge, AQ walk on the outside of the base, meet up the BK with the AQ and the warden, push into the core of the base, open up some walls with the EQ boots, and just absolutely wreck a base. And while the BK and the AQ and the warden are pushing into the base, we send the RC just on their flank at their side so that the RC can keep them into the core of the base and finish off some of the outside defenses that are distracted on the BK and the AQ in the core. And the defenses that aren't distracted on the AQ and the BK in the core, we drop Ice Golems for. And check out the top left, we have a mortar right next to a ricochet cannon. Ricochet cannons are one of the most problematic defenses in the game for this attack strategy. So if you see a nice defense like a mortar right next to a ricochet cannon, that means that you can put an Ice Golem right on that mortar, and the Ice Golem will stall up that ricochet cannon for the RC. So Fireball was a bit off. So we drop in the AQ. AQ once again powered by this Warden Rage Gem. Sending in an Ice Golem. We have a lot of defenses that we're going to go up against down here at the bottom. AQ finishes off this multi-archer tower. Send in an Ice Golem for this BK as well. We freeze up the multi-gear tower. Freeze up the enemy BK, send in some headhunters for him. BK, AQ working together, going to try to sneak in a wall breaker so that we can use the EQ boots later on in the raid. Wall breakers just making it through that poison. BK tries to walk on the outside, which is why I drop the invisibility spell at the bottom left to force the BK back in so that his EQ boots can be used when he approaches right there. So now the AQ has access to all these buildings in the core that she otherwise wouldn't have been. And I could have avoided using that invisibility spell had I placed my RC a little bit earlier with an Ice Golem. So notice the mortar up here at the top left, Ice Golem goes down to freeze up that ricochet cannon. One of the most problematic defenses in the game for this attack strategy, not only for the RC, but for the AQ and the Warden support behind the AQ. Because if you're not careful, that ricochet cannon will hit your AQ and skip past the AQ for the second shot to hit the Warden, and the Warden has just over half the hit points that the AQ has, so the Warden can die very quickly. So it's always important to freeze up a ricochet cannon and be mindful of them. So I hope you guys see just how powerful and how much potential there is in this attack strategy I came up with, and I will see you again next time. Thanks for watching.